Okay, guys, this is my weekly report for July 10th. As you can see, I'm not on the water. This is what I do on my spare time. You see all my tomato plants? They're getting pretty big. They're as tall as a fence. But anyway, let you know what I did this week. I went to Berryessa. I went up there with Denise and Connie, her sister. And you know what I did? I went out and tried to look for crappie, because when I'm out there kokanee fishing, I'm catching like 4 or 5, 1 to 2 pound crappie out in 100 feet of water, suspended down around 35 feet. And I was grafting a lot of bait. So we just took the boat out there, went out there with the live, looking around and just drifting around with little crappie jigs. And we ended up only catching 6 crappie, 1 trout, and 1 kokanee. So, I mean, it's just too tough. I guess when they're out there suspended like that, they're so scattered and they swim around, they don't stay put long enough. Because we had the live, I saw a lot of the fish, actually come in. I saw the kokanee hit the dang lure. So it's pretty interesting. But we did go bass fishing and we caught a bunch of bass. We caught a lot of them in the marina. And then we went out on the main lake and we also caught them on points and island humps out there. We had a good day, caught a lot of bass. And Denise, the sister, she's just learning to fish, and Connie hooked a nice bass, probably in that 5 pound range, and it jumped off right by the boat. But she lost every kind of fish. She would have had one of each species. She lost crappie, she lost trout, she lost bass, she lost spots. She had a bad day, but she's learning. She'll get there one day. Then I went down to Delta. I went down there with Dave and Deborah, and we caught stripers up to 8 pounds. We only caught 4, that we actually were over like 5 to 8 pounds. But we caught probably at least 30 or 40 bass. The bass were chewing everything. We caught them on chatterbaits, Cincos. We caught a lot of them flipping and pitching, and I caught a lot of them on square bills. So the delta for the bass bite, it's pretty much on. We've been getting so much wind, in the last couple of months. I didn't even throw on a top water, but I'm going to now that it's going to start getting hot and cool off. I'm going to probably sneak out there tomorrow, and I'm going to be throwing some top water, and I think I could get them pretty good. So anyway, getting back to other things going on. Ocean, not a whole lot going on that's anything different. The 20 Phantom rock fishing's open, and I know Cal Don's been sneaking out there, and I think Lopes too, and they're going out the gate heading north, and they're putting a lot of rockfish. They're actually catching rockfish and halibut, coming back in the bay and catching halibut. So they're giving the guys that are going, just sacks of fish. So, they're getting limits of bottom fish, probably lings and halibut. So that's a big haul, when you're talking about going out for one day like that. And also out at Bodega Bay, Rick Powers, he's been getting them too, going up north toward Fort Ross. Usually I like to go up in there around October, November, because those lingcods will start moving in that shallow water to spawn. And I did a video a couple years ago, and I show how, I was catching these 15 to 25 pounders on all hitchhiking. But anyway, you can look at that video and see how I was doing it. Other things going on in the ocean, get ready for, Pacifica along the beaches, anywhere outside the gate, all the way past Pacifica. The stripers are in the bay pretty thick, and they're going to head out there. And I'm pretty sure they're probably already getting them. And you could throw iron, like a 2 or 3 ounce spoon, or you could throw top water, and it's even really good at night. I know a lot of guys are catching those bigger fish at night. Also, you could probably fish for a surf perch. I'm sure that's still going on pretty good. Haven't got any reports, but I know they're catching them. So inside the base, San Francisco, still same thing, halibut, stripers. The halibuts have been pretty decent size. I've seen a lot of these reports, and there's halibut in that 15 to 25 pound range. Still a lot of stripers in the bay, especially when you get those fast tides. Then when the tide turns, the second tide of the day, if it's slow, then they're catching halibut. That's why I think if they have a real fast tide, those guys will go out the gate, catch the bottom fish, come back in. So when the tide slows up and they've been slaughtering the halibut, they're catching them live bait, drifting anchovies. I'm sure the bait receiver is still open. But that kind of fishing, it's been really good. I know James on Cal Dawn, Jay Lopes, Ricky Acosta, Steve Mitchell, you can contact those guys, and I'm sure you can get a sack load of fish right now. Coming back inside the Delta, I've been reporting that, a lot of stripers have been leaving. And then I went down there. I was with, who was I with? I was with Dave and, no, I was with Denise and Connie. And I had a minus tide, and I went out there by the Rio Vista Bridge, and I was catching stripers up on these big flats where normally you couldn't even go into on a regular tide. When that tide comes up another 2 feet higher, it's like heyday, and those stripers were up there thick. I mean, we caught so many that day, it was unbelievable. And we caught a lot of bass and stripers that day. And I know Mark Wilson's been back on the tear again. He's having 20, 30 fish days, and he's been trolling. He just trolls Yozuris, and he's been killing them again. And he's been getting, I think the last trip he had like 30 fish, and he had 4 over 10. And then he had, over 20 keepers. So I don't know what's going on. At first I said they're leaving, and then, he's getting them, I'm getting them. So I guess there's a bunch of fish that are still hanging around in the Delta. So anyway, the bass bite down in the Delta has been off the hook also. We were down there catching them on chatterbaits, Cincos. We caught them pitching, D-bombs. I caught them on square bills. They're hitting everything. So, the bass bite is on in the Delta. As far as the lakes, bass fishing, it's also very good. Paganelli's been up there at Berryessa. I saw him up there the other day, and he told me their biggest, I guess it was about 6, and they lost one over 8 at the boat, but they're catching a ton of fish. And when we went crappie fishing after, I don't know, maybe about 10 o'clock, we'd started to go bass fishing, and we were also catching quite a few. And Connie lost one over 5. But there's the bass bite's been really good there. I'm sure you could go anywhere like Oroville, Shasta, Clear Lake, Folsom. Most of the lakes you could probably do very well. It's just that this decontamination thing is kind of a pain, because some of the lakes you could go there with nothing, just a dry boat, and they'll let you launch. Some of them you have to have your boat red tag because they don't have a decontamination, and then you got to wait 30 days to go launch. Berryessa, you can go there, make an appointment, they decontaminate your boat, you can launch. But then when you come off the water, they put a green tag, but you only can go back to Berryessa. So, your boat's only good for fishing at Berryessa. So you got to have multiple boats or something, or friends, and then just split the lakes up. But most of the lakes have been really good. I know Oroville, Shasta, Clear Lake, Folsom, like I said. And I would definitely throw top water in the morning. And then after that, put on a drop shot or put a darter head on and put like a Kitech on there. And at Berryessa, the fish in the morning are up shallow. And then after that, you got to go down about 30 feet. And that's probably pretty normal of everywhere that you go. So the lakes for bass fishing has been really good. Sacramento. So we're going to have a river salmon season, but you can't fish on the Sacramento River. You can fish the American, the Feather, and the McCollum. They're all going to open July 16th. You can go online to Fishing Gang's website and check their regs and when they close. And you also have to pay very good attention to the areas that are off limits. So on the American, on the Feather, and I must be something on the McCollum, that there's areas where you can't go. It's off limits. And I'm sure the wardens are going to be looking at them off limits because, you got to look at the mapping and make sure that, you're not in one of those closed zones or you're going to get a ticket. So anyway, but we are going to have a season, you know, and I'm pretty sure the limits to no size, whatever size. There's no like not like the ocean, and that's going to start July 16th. The shad fishing in the river systems are starting to slow down. You know, it's almost coming to a halt. I don't see a lot of guys on the river anchored or fishing, but I know there's a couple guys, Austin Wilson and Kyler Perry, still in American. They're catching, still catching shad. And I know Austin, he's been, if you get a small one, he's been hooking it up and letting it out. And he's been getting a striper over 20 pounds every trip. So if it's something you want to do, you know, they probably do half days or quarter days right now. Maybe take you out for 2-3 hours. So give them a call. And if you want, go get a striper. They're catching them. So anyway, other things going on. Kokanee fishing is starting to get red hot right now. New Melones is still one of the best places to go. Berryessa, Whiskeytown, Shasta, Stampede, Bullard, Union Valley, they're all pretty decent fishing right now. Just check decontamination again because, you know, I know Union Valley doesn't have any, Bullard doesn't have any, Stampede doesn't have any. I'm pretty sure Shasta and Whiskeytown don't. Berryessa does, and New Melones does. They have to. So you have to either have your boat decontaminated. You could go to Gone Fishing Marine. They have a decontamination center there now. So you just go online, make an appointment, pull in there, and they'll decontaminate your boat, but only for Berryessa. I heard pretty soon he's going to get Folsom too, but right now it's only Berryessa. And if you don't make an appointment, you're just driving by, you could stop there and, you know, you just have to wait if there's other people there. But I was there the other day and I didn't see anybody there. So you can just pull your boat up, pull in, and they'll decontaminate it right there while you wait. And don't forget, J&J Tackles, August 16th is having their Kokanee Derby at Stampede. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. I'll be there. And he's got a ton of sponsors. And it's something that, you know, they're going to do a lot of kids stuff. But, you know, grown-ups are welcome. And it's all free. So August 16th, I'll see you up there. And then trout fishing, Sierra Lakes are probably all pretty decent right now. You can also go online, Fishing Game, and I would look and see where they planted them, or you could call the lake itself and find out. Berryessa is still really good. There's a ton of them in that 20 to 30 foot range. You can catch the regular rainbows that they stock there. They're like 10 inches. And then the Eagle Lake one that they get up to like 22 inches. And most of the lakes, the trout are in that 20 to 30 foot range. So if you're out there trolling for kokanee, you're catching trout, you got to go deeper. So at Berryessa for the cokes, I've been going down anywhere from 45 down to 75 feet. And I've been doing really well with short setbacks. So, you know, when you clip that, you want to use a short leader on your Dodger to your lure. And then when you clip it in your cable, I only let it out 8 to 10 feet max. And I seem to be doing better on the short dropper. So anyway, Gone Fishing Marine, if you need a boat or electronics, any kind of repair, they repair trolling motors. They don't repair electronics. They install them and rewire them or whatever you need. And they do boat repair. And they also do the decontamination, like I said, but only for Berryessa. So, you know, if you need something, just give them a call there and tell Mark that I sent you. Every Saturday morning, I'm on California Sportsman on 1140 on the AM dial. I'm on the air at 640. Every Saturday, first of the month, I'm in the studio. And I usually get there a little early so I could join on with Ultimate Bass with Kent Brown and talk about the Delta Bass. And then continue to do the whole SEP show on the first Saturday of the month. Other than that, you know, I'm usually calling in and I'll be on there at 640. And don't forget the Blind Squirrel, you know, on the YouTube channel. You want to check it out. He's actually, before he was just going to Berryessa, but now he's venturing out elsewhere. And he always explains everything, what he's doing, whether he catches or he doesn't. So it's a good guy to follow. And then these buddies of mine, got this new magazine called Mixed Bag Sportsman's. It's online only. So you could go online, check them out. It's very reasonable, and they give you a lot of information. So anyway, if you like the video, hit that like. Please subscribe. If you want to leave me a comment, I'll get back to you in a couple of days. And also, I'm still doing my consulting. I've been really busy. I'm like 3 weeks out. And I do consulting on electronics, making sure everything's set up on your boat correctly and going over all the uses of them. And then I also do consulting on fishing. Say you wanted to learn how to kokanee fish, then we would go out and I'll show you everything. I'll show you downriggers. I'll show you what you need, how electronics, how you read it, how I look for them, how I set it up and everything. Your rods, your reels, your leader length, your, how you set up when you clip it in a downrigger. I do everything. And so, but basically, I'm still doing that consulting. So the only way you can get a hold of me, because I closed the website down, so the only way you can get a hold of me is 916-761-7594. If I don't answer, just leave me a message and I'll get right back to you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the water next week.